Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and to the channel. If you're new around here, if you want to do, be sure to like and subscribe. Today I'm going to do a different video, as you would have seen by the title. This is a Backlash 2026 prediction, which we're going to cover the whole match card. We're going to cover everything. It's what I think is going to happen, and then how this builds onto the next event, which is Clash in Italy. So, I'm just going to get straight into it. I mean, the only thing I should say is that it does start at 11 PM for UK time. In the US, I think it starts at 7, but don't correct me on that one. But for the UK, it starts at 11 PM. I'll be watching it live with a review of the event afterwards at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So that won't be up until the Sunday, but this should be up before the actual event itself or around the time the event is actually on. So at the moment, it's 2 PM on a Saturday. So, we're going to just jump straight into it. I'm going to kind of go from back to front. I'm not going to kick off with the big one, the big match. I'm going to start off with the one that I think takes least attention, but also at the same time has all the attention, which is Danhausen plus a mystery partner versus Kit Wilson and The Miz. I like that match. They're trying to give Danhausen this opportunity and pushing him out there because his reactions from the fans have been incredible. And look, his partner could be anyone. And I said this to my sister, who I might be watching live with. The partner could be anyone. It could be... It's so hard to call a name because... Yes, he put that tweet out. I think it was a tweet. With the legends, he'd want one of them. Could it be? I don't think we're going to get that lucky. It literally could just be a name out the hat sort of situation. Obviously, WWE haven't done that. Triple H hasn't gone and put hundreds of names in a hat and then just picks out whoever it is them. There's obviously a plan for this. I'd be surprised if this person is just here for the one day. It could be someone from AEW, but I'm not a regular AEW watcher, so I wouldn't know who it would be.
Who the fuck are you?
But my guess is someone from AEW that we haven't seen in a while, or just someone who we often see but just isn't getting the matches that they deserve. You never know. Or it could be someone from TNA. We know what they're like. They're often coming over, but it really could be anyone. So I can't really say who I think would win because we don't know who the other person is. So I'm going to leave that one because we don't know who the other person is. And if it's going to be a 2-on-1 handicap match, then you'd imagine The Miz and Kit Wilson would win, but we'll wait and find out. But we'll move on to the next one, which is Iyo versus Asuka. This one has to cook for me. This match has to cook because the women's matches that we saw at Mania 2 weeks ago just were not good enough.
What the fuck?
The women's matches were poor, really quick, low in quality. Not what you'd expect from a Mania match, really. You know, obviously they brought back Paige and they're doing stuff with the women's division. We're obviously not sure what's going to happen with AJ Lee now. Is she going to come back into the women's picture, or is it just that brief stint? Who knows? We'll wait and find out. But I think this match has to be good because of what we've seen from the women's division more recently. They're pushing so many good talent in there, but they're getting rid of so many. You know, they've got rid of Zoe Stark, Zelina Vega, plus however many others there were. Kairi Sane as well was even released not that long ago. So, and Kairi Sane fits into this storyline of Iyo versus Asuka. Would she have made it a triple threat? Would she have teamed up with someone? Would she have turned against Asuka and gone with Iyo and then their heel? I don't really know. Because that release kind of broke up the tag team system for the women's. And I think they've built a good storyline, but they've got rid of a really good character in Kairi Sane. So I think they're going to have to make up for this. You don't have anyone involved because it just doesn't make sense. Rhea Ripley has no need to be involved in this match at all. So it's a tough one to call. You know, well, for all matches that are 1v1s, it's 50-50. But this one is well and truly 50-50. I think this one, I'm gonna say Asuka for this one. Not because I think it might be a clean win, it might not, but I just see Asuka winning this one. I think she's been, I don't know, I just don't think she's had the justice served to her over the past couple of months. So I think I'm going to go Asuka, but I think this will just lead on to a couple more matches. Hopefully it pays off. Hopefully Asuka gets this push again. Maybe gets one more main title run. And then, who knows? Does she get released? Who knows what happens then? So for me, I'm saying Asuka for Iyo versus Asuka. That's my one. But I think a lot of people would be saying Iyo, but I don't know. I'm going with Asuka there. Then the next match is Seth versus Bron. I've got the card up here. Seth versus Bron. This one is again a really tough one to call, because you've got Seth, who's obviously back from injury, and he has been for about 2 months now. Hasn't been in many matches. Obviously, had that one with Gunther at Mania. It was good, other than the ending, which was Braun getting involved. I thought it should have been Seth versus Braun anyway. Obviously, we know Braun wasn't fit, so that match can go ahead. But I don't see Seth losing this one, to be honest with you. I think Seth wins, and I think clean. I don't think anyone gets involved, although someone could, but I don't see it personally. But I think Seth wins this one clean. But they will feud, I think, up until around SummerSlam time. I think they will keep having matches. They'll keep having these backstage fights on Raw, and it will just build up to SummerSlam where they have some sort of like street fight or unsanctioned match. And that would be just a perfect way to end it off. And then Braun, does he go in for the title? Does Seth go in for the title against Roman? Who knows? But I think this won't just be the end. There's definitely be about 2 or 3 more matches after this between Seth and Braun. But you never know. I'm saying Seth anyway. The next match we see is Sami vs Trick. That's for the United States? Yes, it is. It's been a weird thing going on at the moment for the United States. I think Sami's character just doesn't... I don't see what they're trying to do with him, actually. You know, one minute he's complaining that he's not in the main event picture, and then goes down for the US title. And, you know, what are they trying to do with him is what my question is. Obviously, Trick has the title, but what are they doing with Sami? Are they trying to give him a push, or are they just trying to say to him, look, Sami, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to be in this sort of picture. You might have a match or two against a big champion, then you lose. But I don't know what they're trying to do with Sami, and I always say it to my sister every time. What is their intentions with Sami? And I'm not a big fan of his character, because it's been the same character for the past, now I'd say 4 years, where he is the underdog. He's had this underdog persona for the past 4 years, and I just don't think it's working for him. You know, at first it was fine, you know, when he had those matches with Roman, but I felt he could have been the one to dethrone Roman. You know, he fell under his wing. He got out of it. It made sense for Sami to end the streak and then kind of be this guy who ended Roman's streak, be the guy, basically. But he's kind of been dragged back down. And I don't think, even if you bring back Kevin at some point, them two don't feud for me, because you've already done it like 3 times. Do you make them a tag team? You could, but you've already tried that. So for me, I don't see what they're trying to do with Sami, and I think he does lose anyway. I think Trick will win this, but I don't know what Sami's direction is. If they somehow pull out him versus Roman, or him versus Cody, sure, I'll take it. But I don't see what they're trying to do with Sami at the moment, and my prediction is a Trick Williams win. And then we move on to the main event, which is Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. the one this has got to be a good match. This can't be boring. This can't be a quick 10 minutes. Roman wins through a couple of spears. I think Roman will win anyway, and that's my prediction. Roman will win this match. But this has got to be a good match. Like, come on, we're seeing this is something everyone's been asking for since Roman came back at that SummerSlam. I think it was 24. What they've done with Jacob is amazing, but they just have to keep consistent with it. Yes, I think he will lose anyway. Yes, I don't think there's much that's going to happen to him, but that's just the way things are. They need to have Roman win this, because otherwise it's a short title run, 2 weeks, but you could easily keep having Jacob going back in for it. I'm not saying have Roman and Jacob for the next 10 matches, but I think Jacob needs to pose a threat to then be able to establish himself more in the main event picture. I think the Usos will be involved. I don't think they'll necessarily... I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening with Jay at the moment is my question. He just doesn't know whether to... It looks like, from my perspective, others may agree, others may disagree, that he just wants to do his own thing, be away from Roman, but he's not, in a way. It feels like, and I again, another thing I always say to my sister is that there's too many faces at the moment, and you kind of need to take the faces into heels. Who would play a good heel? Damian Priest can play a good heel, but he's not a heel, which really frustrates me, because yes, I think people like him as a face, but then if we're talking about being liked as a face, then everyone's going to be a face, if you know what I mean. But I think we've got to see Punk as a heel, because I think that's probably his best persona on the mic. Amazing. And again, Priest has to be a heel. If you're not going to put Priest as a heel, I don't see what you're trying to do with him. His persona isn't a very face type character, and if they're going to keep him as a heel, fine. As a face, sorry, he's never going to get anywhere. But if you put Priest as a heel, he does get pushed out there a bit more. And obviously he's been having problems with the MFTs, who I also think will be involved in this match, as we've seen them have a couple of run-ins with the Usos and Jacob. I don't necessarily see Jacob siding with the MFTs again. But this is another thing I said to my sister, is that Jacob Solo needs to win a title soon. And IC, US, one of the two. And then that's where Jacob and Solo's feud kind of reignites. That's what I think, because I don't think Solo has anything going for him at the moment. He come and goes, the rest of his team are gone, it's only him, Tolo Tonga and Tama Tonga. So obviously we saw JC Mateo and Tonga Loa gone with the Wyatt Six. Makes no sense to me. If we are seeing the MFTs get involved in this match, there's got to be a turn. There has to be a surprise here. It can't just be Roman, Jacob, and the Usos take on the MFTs. That one, you're outnumbered. Two, there's got to be a turn somewhere. I think this is where Jay comes out of the storyline. He doesn't want to be involved with the family, basically, because we're seeing it so many times. They keep trying to do this, but it's not working, because you've already done Solo versus Roman for the Ulafala. Okay, it worked, but they've done nothing with it afterwards. They've teased it here and there, but it's really gone nowhere. They've done the War Games, that's all done. So what they're going to do there, I have no idea. And I don't think anyone does, because I think Solo could get released soon if he doesn't win a title soon. If he goes into SummerSlam without a match, without any titles, I think you've got to start saying, do you just release him? Or do you bring him down into this sort of tag team division or this mid-card titles division because you've already got too many. They need to normalise the IC title, the US title, and the tag titles as PLE type matches. I'm not saying we need to see every title being defended on a PLE, but when was the last time the tag titles were? I think I'm not going to give you. This might not be the best answer, and there's probably been one more later, or more recent. Sorry, but I think the last time we saw the tag titles defended was for the SmackDown ones last Rumble, so Rumble 25, and last Mania, so Mania 25, which is the Raw ones. They need to kind of push them up there again. It's the same with and I like what they're doing with the US title. They're putting Sami versus Trick. It's the first time it's been on a PLE for a while now, but they need to kind of normalise it. I guess you could put Damien in that picture. You could even put The Miz, Kit Wilson, Danhausen all in that picture as well, because The Miz and Kit Wilson for me is a very makeshift tag team, and it's like a tag team. It's like with R-Truth and Damian Priest that they've just put together without any context. Okay, fine, it's a fun sort of tag team backstage, but when you think about it, it's like if they're going up against the MFTs, they're going to get squashed, aren't they? Because it's not a proper tag team. It's The Miz and Kit Wilson is a very makeshift tag team. That for me does not work. So I'd say you could easily push them, Danhausen, Miz, and Kit Wilson into the US title picture, and then you work from there, really. Or they need a draft soon. But yeah, my prediction for Roman vs Jacob is then Roman to win. And again, I think we will probably we might see this match again at Clash in Paris. But I'm not sure, because we're already seeing Cody versus Gunther at Clash in Paris and what we know from SmackDown. But I think Roman gets a new opponent very soon, which I don't think it could be Jacob, but it could be. I could see it being more Seth or Bron. Punk is out of the picture for a little bit. He's been consistent for months now. When he comes back, we don't know. But yeah, that's my Clash in Paris predictions. Clash in Paris. Why have I just said Clash in Paris? It's not even Paris at the end of May. It's in Turin. That's my Backlash predictions for this year. If you agree with any, put them down in the comments. If you have another idea or you have opposing predictions to me, do also just chuck them in the comments. It'd be great to hear other people's ideas or predictions about the event. I will do another video right after the event, giving my thoughts. It'll probably just be about 10 minutes or so. So nothing major there. But yeah, this is my predictions. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, for Clash in Italy, and then SummerSlam when that comes around, do let me know in the comments, and I will definitely be sure to do that. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.